Happy Monday. Mistral and I are back again to talk about the 9 energy centers of human design. So today we are kicking it off on the top with the crown center, and we are going to jump in as soon as Instagram lets her join. Jump in to talk about this center, all about inspiration, mental pressure, and see what we get to discuss about definition, alignment, all of those wonderful aspects. So, welcome. Drop in the comments if you're joining live if you have a defined, undefined, or open crown. So, you'll look at your human design chart, and on the very top will be the crown center, the little triangle. It only has 3 gates. Ooh, I love how all those hearts popped up. Thanks, everyone. So yeah, of course, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties getting Mistral on here. I don't see you in my request. There we go. You know, retrograde starts on the 1st, but we're about to enter the shadow period. This is the end of the energetic new year, and boy, am I feeling it. I am ready to let it all go.
Yes, yes. I hear you on all of that, Jen, because this there's a couple things going on, right? In the transits and also just in life right now at the end of that lunar year. Oh, I tell you what, I was up all night last night and I was like, what is this energy that has got me, basically insomnia?
Yeah.
Like I closed out the new year officially. I was up at 2 o'clock in the morning.
And it's so interesting how we're opposites in that way, because I actually got a great night's sleep last night. But with talking about the crown center today, and I haven't been able to pinpoint it yet. There are certain transits, and I imagine it's when we move through one of the 4 gates in the crown, right? In the crown, we have gates 61, 63, 64. So my guess is that when one of those is activated through the transits, that I cannot sleep. Like there's just so much mental pressure, so much download, so much information that it's like my crown is on fire. So I did not feel that, but I wonder if something is like that for you.
Well, yes. And so I have an open, undefined crown. So definitely lots of open-mindedness, being able to receive ideas. But gate 63 is in transit right now, which is the gate of doubts. And I was up last night with so much self-doubt. It was, you're not going to achieve this. You're not going to achieve that. I was worrying about the future. It wasn't anything about the past. It was all about my future self. And I'm like, I'm sitting there at 2 o'clock in the morning going, what? Gate 63. Okay, this is my gate of doubt. Here I go. I'm doing all the affirmations, all the things to try to A, get back to sleep, and B, get rid of the negative thoughts. And I looked to see what transits are going through, and I was like, oh, of course. No wonder why I'm feeling this way. It's lit up. That's not a gate that's activated for me, but a time when we can feel that energy, right? And we really can tap into it and tune into it. So I'll tell you, I tapped into that last night.
Well, thank you so much for saying that, because I'm usually on my transits, but I'm not on that one. So all the self-doubt that I've been experiencing over the past day definitely explains that. Because yeah, when we have an open crown and we have this fixed energy that lasts for about 6 days, that's not ours, but we feel it coming in. It affects us in different ways. So what a great time to really like shoo out that doubt, right? Tomorrow, spring equinox, we have Aries season starting, the new year. Like it really is a time to sweep out the cobwebs and get rid of all that doubt. It must be the gate of mystery. I think that's when my head's like, oh my gosh, we have to solve all these problems. But the doubt definitely is more internal, right?
Yes. Oh, yes. It was such an internal conflict for me. And this is something, as someone who is a coach in the online space, this is something I work on daily. And I know for yourself, Jen, too, having a business in the online space, we're constantly showing up. We're constantly having to get ourselves into that energy that allows us to be our best selves for our clients, right? And so we have all these tools and techniques to get ourselves like amped up and ready for that. But when we're going through, so we know all the tools, but when we're going, we still experience it, right? Even as experienced coaches who help other people through, we still have our own self-doubts and our own concerns and our own things that come up. And so sometimes our tools will work and sometimes they won't, right? And it's just that emotion that we have to feel, sit with. Why is this coming up? Is this coming up from something I've been told? Am I putting this pressure on myself? Is it my open head thinking other people are thinking this? Where is this coming from?
Yeah, and it really speaks to the crown, right? That crown energy, that mental pressure. Sometimes it's downloads, right? Sometimes we get this channeled information that is so wonderful that we need and lights us up and brings us, to new turning points and new paths and all these great things. But then on the flip side, it really shines on our shadows, like we've been talking about, and can be challenging, but can also kind of throw us out of alignment, right? You probably didn't want a sleepless night last night. That doesn't start you off for a great week, but that's what it's doing.
Yep, exactly. And then I'm home with my daughter today. So that just throws a whole other like, how can I do this when I'm also a mom? Right.
Right? Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but that's okay. And at the point of me sharing this is that we can be vulnerable and we can experience these things and we can move through them and we can get to the other side and feel really good about ourselves. It's whether we choose to stay stagnant in it, right? Or we choose to do something about it and show up so we can have a smile on our face and shine our light bright, right? It comes down to that choice.
Right. Yeah. Really, that conscious choice of do I want to shift the energy? Like you said, all these self doubts come up with this transit. And it's do we absorb them? Do we continue to doubt ourselves and lower our vibration? Or do we, let ourselves see the clarity to say, okay, what am I confident in? What can I let go of these doubts? Right. It's still, well, it's called the gate after completion. So it's like, okay, what can I wrap? Like, what a beautiful timing. Of course, it's the last gate we move through before. Well, it's a different new year too. So it's interesting that we're here.
Well,
Um,
I think it's kind of like a loaded question for me in some ways, Jen. And I know we're on the crown, but we're at the same time we're kind of veering away from it. But for me, I'm a Pisces, right? And this is like the end of my like Pisces era right here, right now, today, as we move into Aries. And so when it was coming up, I was like, why is this coming up for me right now? And then when I started reading about the transits this morning and reading about like, oh yeah, it's the end of like all of these things kind of accumulating together. And you're like, oh yeah, I knew that. That makes sense now. And I can, again, the choice, right? I can wallow or I can move forward. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about understanding human design is that I was able to recognize that. I was able to late last night go and be like, okay, well, what transits are going? What gates are activated? Like, why is my mind so active? Why can I not sleep? As a manifesting generator, I used my energy so appropriately yesterday with my family. So I was like, I should be tired. My energy should be spent. So why is this not working right? And understanding that. And because I have this open or undefined mind space, I receive a lot of energy. And so a lot of, I guess, I wouldn't say they were downloads, but a lot of what was coming in for me was just this collective like self doubt and fear. And of course, like a lot of people feel this, right? And I feel this, of course. And so when I knew that, then I was kind of able to shift it and kind of get back to sleep. But the point is that, you know, having these tools helps me understand where this is coming from instead of just having this sleepless, restless night. I'm able to do things that then supported me to get back to sleep, which is nice because I know some people maybe don't know how to do that or just struggle with getting back to sleep once you've
Yeah,
experienced.
and I love how you kind of touched upon utilizing the gift of this gate, right? The gift of gate 63 is inquiry. So you kind of sat with and inquired about these doubts, the city, the essence being truth. So it's kind of like, all right, I have all this self-doubt, but like let me inquire, like do I really need to doubt? What tools do I need to use? Where can I find truth? Because this doubt is not my truth. So it makes sense that that mental pressure would keep you up at night. Your body's like, hey, we're out of energy, but that mind that'll hijack us every time, and especially when the crown gets lit up when we're completely open, things start swirling. And now, like everything that's happened in the past 24 hours is starting to get clearer now, seeing like, oh, they were affected by doubt. Okay, they were affected by doubt. So it
Where it comes
really
in, right?
Right. And of course, if you have gate 63 in your crown defined, if you have that gate in your chart, you may not feel this energy as much, especially if you have a defined crown, right? Then you have that fixed, reliable access, eh, fixed, reliable mental pressure, right? You know how much pressure is on you. Whereas Mistral and I, we don't. It's completely open. We don't know when it's going to come, where it's going to come. We're just kind of open to inspiration whenever it's going to hit, and it can be kind of a superpower in a way. I think all the completely open centers can, because yes, we mirror them back, but they can almost be like a giant satellite. So like when it comes, it comes.
Yeah, yeah. And I will say I much prefer being kept up at night with ideas and excitement and creation and creating content, things like that. Like when I have those big ideas drop in, that is so fun for me. And then I don't mind. And then I can sleep in the morning feeling like I accomplished a lot. Last night with the self doubt really feels almost like a drain, right? A drain because it was like, it just was sucking my energy. It was taking all my good, positive juju vibes and turning them into this self doubt and negativity.
Yeah.
And so being able to recognize that though was like, oh great, this is my undefined crown basically playing tricks on me, right? And what is my truth and what is not? You kind of mentioned touched on it before, right? Am I going to hold on to this and believe this, or am I going to question it and kind of throw it out, and get rid of it? But when I am with this undefined center, when I'm in this low vibe, that's kind of when you get this confusion and unsureness, and the self doubt comes in for me anyway.
Mm.
And I have to really be like, okay, I know why this is coming, and this is how I can shift that because I am open minded and I do see lots of different perspectives, and I can look at somebody and think like, oh, I see what they're struggling with here, and I know the right way, so I can help guide them to that correct decision for them, right? Because I can see it. I'm open minded. Maybe they're a little bit more closed minded around those things, but because of that open mindedness, we're also susceptible to what the other pressures that people put on us or their beliefs, right? Oh, you can't do that. You think too big. You're thinking too outside the box. That's not how a 9 to 5 works. So that's not how a business works, right? They try to almost put their beliefs on us as well.
Right, yeah, that's why I love the energy of this gate, and while the 3 gates in the crown center are all different, there's still, like, a similar, of course, vibe and energy to the center because it is the crown center, but specifically gate 63 has the energy to use doubt as a gateway into possibility, and again, what perfect timing with the new year starting with us coming into spring of seeing these possibilities, whether we can't see them ourselves because we're kind of stuck in the doubt, or if we have a wonderful coach in whatever capacity that we're working with who may be able to help us see our possibilities and guide us into this new future, this new way of life. Like there's so much new blossoming energy coming in over the next like month or two.
I am excited for that for sure, and I think what's neat with the crown too, it's one of the only energy centers that's only attached to one other energy center, right? So anything, well, this is what I love. It's like a funnel. I kind of picture it as this funnel where you're sort of receiving ideas, information, content, context, whatever, from your higher self, right? I like to refer to it as our crown, like our sovereignty. It's where we kind of like can formulate those really amazing ideas and beliefs, and they funnel straight through to our mind, which our mind then connects to our throat, of course. And so somebody who maybe has defined or even undefined centers can really funnel these downloads whoop, 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 straight into speaking and manifestation really quickly when they're in alignment and when they're making those right actions towards taking the action to make that happen. But I think that's what's so neat about the crown is it really is this beautiful way of, so when people say they're channeling, like, yeah, that's exactly what they're doing, right? They're channeling from their crown to their mind, formulating the ideas and then speaking it aloud into the universe.
Yeah, and that's why I use the word of satellite, but I like the beacon. Like it's this
Yeah.
giant funnel that just allows for so much to be absorbed, and then it's really up to you to filter through the mind to see, what is an expression. Certainly, with my lack of definition, right? I'm undefined in my top 3 centers, so I have to be really mindful of what is coming out and if it's mine because it can easily not be mine. It can be
Yeah.
absorbed from other people. But if you have that definition, it can be really easy to filter in and use your voice to speak the truth. So it really is such a beautiful way to utilize your unique energy. So I love what we're talking about within, personally guiding ourselves. So I don't know, Mistral, if you want to speak a little more to business, like utilizing your crown and that energy to help you through your marketing and, all things biz.
Yeah, I'm going to speak mostly from the experience I've obviously had with my current clients and then myself as well. And I think, with the head center, it really is that place of inspiration, right? And so when we have this defined center, we tend to receive the energy in a more consistent, or the downloads in a more consistent way, it seems to feel like, or at least what I've noticed. I'm undefined, so I don't have personal with that. But with my clients, it seems like they receive downloads more, or they are able to filter them easier and see what their clarity is and what they're receiving and what is theirs and what feels really aligned for them. And what I noticed for myself or any other clients that are more open is that we still receive lots of ideas. But especially if you're a manifesting generator like me, sometimes we can get so excited by all the ideas. Suddenly we're like, oh, I have 20 things I'm going to implement. And which one do I start with first? And then we lose sight of what we were already working on. And so I think it's important, when you are looking at your chart and deciding like, okay, in my marketing, where do I feel that I get stuck? Or in my business, where do I feel like I get stuck? Do I get stuck in the like too many ideas and not taking action and implementing? Or do I get stuck in, I don't know which of these ideas coming through is actually truly aligned for me because I'm still figuring myself out, right? I'm still figuring out how I want to present myself in the online space. And that I will admit was really hard for me at the beginning because there were so many ideas coming through. I'm looking at so many other people and what they're creating for inspiration that I struggled to get my own personal brand because there was too much going on up here. And I really had to learn how to pick and choose what fit for me versus my clients who are defined kind of they just know that there's this knowing that they have within that, I feel. And they use that to channel their content.
Right. They have that reliable energy. They know how it works for them. So they're able to master it, right? It's that fixed way that they work. Whereas for us, for anyone undefined, it's so important, like you mentioned, all those ideas, it's so important to bring it all down into the body where our authority lies, to utilize your authority to find what is aligned for you, right? To make those aligned decisions. So that's what I've gotten used to with my openness up top. Everything that comes through, I really have to embody it, especially as that emotional authority, right? I need to bring it into my body to feel it out. My mind, like, I don't let it do the work because it's going to hijack. It's not going to lead me to alignment. It's my emotions, it's my feelings, it's riding my emotional wave. Taking time and practicing patience with it, of course, is what's going to let me know what ideas, and especially for me as a projector, right? Which ideas are worth my energy. Because if if I'm trying to like tackle all the ideas that come through and trying to be a manifesting generator, like burn out, like
Yeah.
nothing's gonna happen.
Except burnout.
Right,
Right.
right.
Yeah. No, I really loved how you made that comment because I think that when the ideas come through, we can get, especially as the manifesting generator, I can get so excited and, like you said, wanting to implement everything. And that was where I struggled at the start because I couldn't formulate my own real thoughts and ideas because I'd been so conditioned from when I was younger. And this is something I do find in women in particular who have these open mind centers is they've been told like too many ideas, too big, too think outside the box. I don't agree with what you're saying. I don't think that's going to work. I don't think this, and so then we start saying like, oh, well, my ideas aren't good or what I'm bringing through, or what I'm choosing to bring through isn't correct and it's wrong. And so we kind of shut down, right? A lot. And so then when I first started my business, I was really seeking that outside validation all the time. Somebody else knows better. Somebody else has the right strategy or the right this or the right that. And it wasn't until I realized that, within my human design chart and how I meant to move and shift all the energy and those ideas and the creations and use my authority to make the right decision, did I really understand what was mine and what I was meant to actually put forth. Um, And I'm happy to share how much I struggled at the start before human design, because for me, human design was like a floodgate that opened everything up of like, oh, and a lot of it wasn't necessarily about strategy and marketing, but it was more around the limiting beliefs, the thoughts, how I saw myself from what I had been told in my younger years, not being good enough, or my ideas being too wackadoodle or whatever, right? Like, and now my ideas are great, right? This is where I get to flourish and I get to share, because I get to create in a way that feels aligned for me versus being boxed into somebody else's, well, I know what I want to have happen, but you're supposed to come up with the idea. So I'm just waiting for you to come up with the idea that I already have. Like, that just doesn't work for me, obviously.
Right. And that's why it's so important to decondition and to really end that comparison effect, because the more that we compare, especially with an undefined crown, right? If we're comparing and falling victim to the comparison effect, our inspirations are actually going to be from someone else's, not from ourself, not from our higher self. They're not going to be aligned. So that's
Yeah.
why so much we need to decondition. We need to use our inner authority to guide us for ourselves and what is right for us, not not anybody else, or regardless of anybody else.
Yep. Yep. And I've been doing a lot of thinking about this recently with personal branding, just trying to help people understand that a little bit better, because I think now, when there's so many amazing people creating amazing things online, you have so much more of an opportunity to really break away from the traditional and really showcase yourself and your gifts and who you are, and create that personal brand in ways that we haven't been able to before. But what comes along with that is the conditioning that we have to work through of, no, what I create up here, even with everything open, is correct. It is aligned. I get to pick and choose that as it comes down into my body, and know that. Whereas 2 years ago, I had no clue. And so everything was filtering through, and this and this and this. And I had no system to go through it and figure out, well, I'm just doing this because this person who's a marketing expert told me to do it this way, but this doesn't feel good. I'm not
Mhm.
having success. Why am I still doing this? It doesn't make sense, but this is what I've been told to do. So I'm going to keep doing it. And then, of course, burnout, right?
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Oh, I love this chat about the crown. And of course, it's so timely and everything. And hopefully all of you who are watching really, get a feel for how to use design, human design, especially in terms of the crown, for yourself personally, for your business. So certainly reach out, ask us more questions if you have them. Of course, I focus on the individuals and aligning with your own personal design, and Mistral focuses on business and marketing and aligning your business to you and
Yeah.
your design. So we will be back every Monday, 3 p.m. Eastern, to continue working through the rest of the 9 energy centers. So make sure to follow the both of us. We're going to post this recording, so feel free to go back to it. Let us know your thoughts and anything else that I'm missing, Mistral.
Don't let the self-doubt get to you this week. Shift it, shift it, shift it, shift it.
Yes, yes. Inquire about it, find the truth, and let's all just kick off this energetic new year with that fiery Aries energy.
Yay. Awesome.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for joining
everyone.
us. We'll see you next Monday.